I love Sunday mornings. One of my favorite things is getting here early on a Sunday and just kind of getting ready for the day. I'm not the first person here. Usually our worship pastor and our pastor are here before me, but I love it when there's just a few people in the building, and we've been planning and preparing and praying all week for what's going to happen on Sunday, before, during, and after our worship service, praying for our body and asking God to move and to do things. And I love getting here and just kind of doing some of the last minute things, some of the Sunday morning things, drinking a cup of coffee, talking to some different people, catching up on the week and things like that. One thing we do every Sunday morning is we get our live stream set up, get the computer fired up and our lights and our cameras and everything going. And each week, as part of that process, we set the white balance on our cameras. Now, this is not a textbook definition of white balance, but basically, depending on the type of light, the temperature of the light, and things like that, in the setting, you have to set your camera so that things look right. And setting the white balance means you basically tell the camera what is white and what looks white. So we have a big piece of poster board that we typically use, and we put it up on stage under the stage lights, and we use that to set the white balance. Now, to give you a little bit of an example, if we were to set the camera's white balance to this part of the wall right here, then it's gonna change and not really look right because the camera is seeing this as white. If we were to use my shirt and use that as the marker for white balance, well, that doesn't look right either. And so we use this white poster board to let the cameras know what white is. You see, the cameras know their colors. They have what's called a color science, but it has to have a starting point, a point of reference. And so we tell the cameras what white is, and from there, everything else falls into place, and it knows what colors are what and makes the video and the image look good for our live stream. One Sunday morning, I was helping out our audiovisual team, and I went up on stage and was holding that poster board so the guys could set the cameras and set the white balance. And one of our pastors was sitting in the sanctuary, and when I came off the stage, he was like, "Hey, come here. What do you do when you go up there? Why do you take that board up there? What are you doing?" And so I explained to him a little bit about white balance. And what I really said was, I said, we take this up there, the camera knows the colors, and we give it a point of reference. We tell it what white is, and then based off of the color white, it knows what all the other colors are. And he kind of was like, okay, that makes a little more sense. And then he kind of looked at me and he said, "That'll preach right there." I looked at him and I said, "What do you mean that'll preach?" He said, "Well, think about it for a minute. You have to tell the cameras where to start, and everything else kind of falls into place. If our starting point is Jesus, then everything else will fall into place. He has to be our point of reference." He's like, "That'll preach." And I thought, man, that is a great illustration. And I told him, I said, "I'm going to steal that. I'm going to use that for a video someday." Man, that just was such a powerful reminder to me that Jesus needs to be our point of reference in everything. Jesus needs to be our number one. He needs to be the thing that we set our eyes and our hearts and our minds to, and then allow everything else to fall where it may, because Jesus knows where all those other pieces need to land, and Jesus knows what our heart wants and what our priorities are and the call and the purpose that He has for our life. Is He your perfect point of reference for your life? Or are you like me, and sometimes I allow other things to take that spot? I allow other things to be my reference because I want to do something, or I'm going after something, or I'm trying to reach my own goals, when Jesus says, "No, I need to be your goal." I can have goals, I can strive after things and have desires in my heart, but those things need to come second. Those things need to fall in place after I put Jesus first. And if He allows those things to happen, then praise God. And if not, then that means He has a different plan for me or for my family. And just like we have to set the white balance every single week because the cameras tend to forget or their settings get changed, sometimes in our own life we have to take stock and say, where am I at? Is Jesus in my number one? Is He where I set my eyes to? Is He my point of reference for my life? And if He is, that's great. And if He's not, then we need to change our settings. We need to make some changes in our life, because Christ wants to be our all in all. He wants to be our everything, but we have to make the decision. I have to make the decision for my life, for every day, every hour, every decision, that He is my point of reference. And I believe that Jesus' words are true, that when we trust Him, when we follow Him, and we obey Him, He's going to lead us. Maybe not always where we want to go. He's going to lead us in a place that brings honor and glory to the Father. And I don't know about you, but that's what I want my life to be about. I don't always get that right, but I want to honor and glorify the Father in everything that I do. At work, with my family, in my personal life, in my marriage, with my kids, everything. I want God to receive all the honor and all the glory. So my question for me and my question for you is, are your eyes set on Jesus?